Bee breeding starts in New Zealand. This is episode 112.
Welcome to the KM112 Buzz. Hi, this week we are talking about springing into bee season 2017. That's for us here in the, the Southern Hemisphere?
That's right, Southern Hemisphere.
Okay, and evolving bees. A great herb has been discovered and some interesting articles about some testing on plants that's coming up. And are you getting enough?
Enough of what?
You will find out. This is episode 112 of our beekeeping podcast here in little old New Zealand.
And welcome to the KM112 Buzz. I'm Gary, and that's
Margaret over here.
And
he's over there.
And we are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitakere Ranges in West Auckland, New Zealand. And our podcast is about beekeeping, gardening, and political issues, about environmental things, and a lot of political stuff going on at the moment in New Zealand, isn't there?
Indeed, and the environmental issues we discuss are usually surrounded our bees.
Yes, and we have a general election coming up at the end of September in New Zealand, so we'll be maybe changing the government. Who knows?
Who knows? And we have been known to go off in tangents about other issues. And yes, you never know whether that might happen tonight. And tonight's going to be a goodie, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we'd like to special thanks to Chris Brown and Laura and Jasper. They've been supporting the KM112 Buzz since October 2016.
Yes.
And if you want to learn more about Chris, you can check out episode 111.
And did you mention Maggie?
No, I didn't.
That's the family dog, and what a cutie.
Yes, we hope all is well in Britmana. Thanks for your support. And if you value our podcasts and like to keep it going, please consider supporting us at kiwi.bz/banana. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we'd love it if you would share the show with your bee friends and gardeners, because there's always something about gardening. We've had a few blogs coming through, so yeah, awesome to be here, guys. And it's spring here in New Zealand. Hallelujah!
Woo!
Oh my goodness.
Finally, the long, cold, bitter winter.
Well, yeah, sort of, eh? But anyway, the dandelions are coming up, buttercups are starting to appear, and there's a few daisies in the grass. So it's all starting to change, and I've seen a few blossoms around, so all good.
Absolutely. And did you know, Margaret?
What, Gary?
Today is the 6th of September, 2017, and it's Fight Procrastination Day.
Well, can we please get on with it then?
Oscar Wilde famously said, "I never put off till tomorrow what I can possibly do the day after." So we need to consider that. And are you ready for spring? The bee swarms will not wait for you to build boxes and frames.
Yeah, we're ready for spring, are you?
And procrastination has to stop today.
That's right, guys, because the bees will not wait.
No, and the show notes for this great podcast are kiwi.bz/112. We will have all the articles linked there and everything you need to see, so check it out. And thanks for listening to our show. We know life is busy, and we appreciate you've taken the time to join us, and we appreciate you. Thanks for everything you've provided.
Yeah, we really appreciate. We've had lots of feedback, and we've already noticed that people are really starting to build products. So everything's going along well, and people are starting to build their gears, eh?
Absolutely. So what's happening at KM112?
Well, you tell me, Gary.
Well, the podcast app is out.
Yay!
Dun-da-da. And it's live on Apple/iOS or Android, Google, so you can grab the application to listen to the show. But because you're already listening, you probably already worked that out.
Yeah, that's it. And I've got it on my phone now, so it's awesome.
Yeah, so if you're one of the people that have downloaded the app in the last few weeks, you'll be this is the first show you'd listen to.
Hallelujah.
And there'll be an article coming out very soon about how to install it. So this is going to be great for when you go to bee clubs and they go, "I don't understand what a podcast is." And you just go, "Oh, here, pass me your phone," and you install the app for them.
And bim bam, it's done.
It's free too. The app's free. Thanks to our wonderful Patreon supporters. And thanks to Aaron and Jim and Jill for helping us to get that done.
Yes, and Jim and Jill are up high on a mountain somewhere, aren't they?
They're near Mount Everest, aren't they?
It's pretty incredible. These people are just incredible, and supporting us as they do, we're just so thrilled for them, and just, yeah, we are there with you in spirit, and we hope that all's going well. And we love getting all the feedback, guys.
Absolutely. They've been posting some stunning photos, haven't they, of the Himalayas? It's awesome.
Stunning.
And huge thanks to these amazing people that have used our Hive Tracks affiliate links, so they've helping support the Kiwi Marna Buzz that way. David Hawcott, Corey Matheson,
Kristen Witham, Kevin Smith, Mark Kirkwood, and Cherry McLaren. So thanks, guys, for supporting us through this Hive Tracks program, and we hope it's all working out well for you, and that I was using it the other day, and you really do have to go back home to the computer and make all your updates and tidy them up through there. So it's a really great program, and it's neat to get those photos on there as well. So awesome.
Yeah, because you were finding you wanted to delete a Hive box and you couldn't do it, could you? You had to do it from the main website.
I had to go back to the main computer at home and do all that tidying up in there. So
set up a new colony or something.
Yeah, that's it. And so, if anyone else has issues like that, then that's what you need to do. So you do your basics out there in the field, then come home and you can tidy it up.
Up. And speaking of being in the field, Kiwi Marna's been on the road, haven't they? And we went to the Auckland Bee Club. We met up with Carl, Steve, and we think Dave, and we also met Dave at the QMU Beekeepers Day. And what did Carl do? He recognised us by your voice, didn't
he? Yeah. And we also saw Tracy and Mark, and we saw Tony there. And Steve I'd actually finally met Steve. He'd been a customer. And it was great to put a face to the name. So that was great. And that was at the field day at Auckland Beekeepers Club.
Thanks, everyone, for being there. That was awesome.
Great. Fantastic.
And Carl's got a brave task ahead of him. He's listening to all the shows.
Yeah. You go, Carl.
So you won't probably hear this show, Carl, for about 3 years. Anyway.
Okay, what's next, Gary, for you?
Well, the bonus show came out last time.
So what is the bonus buzz?
The bonus buzz is a little extra show for the patrons, and it's been downloaded by most of the patrons. So that is great. So thanks, guys, for you supporting the new show. And we'll talk more about that in the future. And what's going up with you, Margaret?
With me, Gary. Well, before we go any further, I just want the listener to close their eyes. Take a deep breath. Relax. Just take a moment. It's time. I'm so excited. I can barely keep a thought in my head. Yes, folks, it's spring, and there's lots to get through. So, we have to get to it.
Absolutely.
So, guys, I think we had some clear weather and some sunny days last week, but it's fooling you, really, because it was blimmin' cold. I tell you that now. And just be careful, guys, not to open your hives when the temperatures are below foraging temperature, because you can chill the cluster really quickly. And this is the time where you really need to make sure that you're opening it at the right time, because there's a lot of assessments that you need to do now preparing for spring. Those assessments can take a bit of time and really chill the brood. So, So we've been having a few sunny days, and then last night we had a huge rainfall and flooding in the lower valleys. And talking about flooding, we hear about the Texas floods, and we're not talking Stevie Ray Vaughan here.
No, a lot of flooding in Houston, Texas last week, so that's terrible. Good news, guys. So I hope you guys are all okay and all your hives are okay. Yeah,
our thoughts go out to you, and we're thinking of you and wishing you all the help you can get. I know it's tough out there for you guys, but we're thinking of you.
Absolutely. And speaking of helping people, how did the spring preparation course go?
This was really low numbers and not a lot of response, but it was really good to those who attended because I was able to give them lots of individual help, really. And so it's a new short course that I set up to help people prepare for spring. You had all the gear there and everything, but the main question that was asked on the course was, how do I split? And just reminding you guys that we do have a split method on our website. This split method is actually designed so you can keep your old queen. And we like doing that here in New Zealand. I know that overseas a lot of you guys buy in by the pound or whatever and then get their queens in this way. But I really love to encourage you guys to actually start wintering over your bees and keeping your older queens and using them for breeding in the following season. So there's a challenge that I put to you over there in the States and everything to try and keep your queens alive. So it's a whole job in itself.
Yeah, that is a very popular post. We might do a video of that over summer, eh?
Yeah, we're planning to do some more videos this year, guys. So that'll be coming out over time, and yeah, you'll be able to enjoy a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, hopefully.
But some very serious beekeeping help.
Indeed. And we went along to the KM112 Beekeepers Day. That was organised by the KM112 Beekeepers Group, wasn't it?
The KM112 Community Bee Group, the police, scientists, and the Berry Brothers, and an ant guy with a chemical twist turned up there.
He did have a chemical twist, and I don't recommend his solution when you're setting up an apiary.
I absolutely do not support some of the things he said. What I found was really interesting from what he said is that Argentine ants actually can spread nosema.
Yes, absolutely.
I thought that was very interesting, and it was nice to see John Berry talking about his beekeeping efforts and, yeah, some of the things that he got up to. And the police were talking about the thefts, and basically they say that you need to get as much details on what you see as you possibly can and ring them and get it logged as an incident or a crime, and give as much detail as you can, like the car, the type of car, the colour of the car, license plates if you can, and some description, the clothing description, those kind of things. And, that kind of thing if you do see something going on with people's hives. And the scientists that attended were Dr. Mark Goodwin and
Michelle Taylor. Yeah.
Yes, they were both there, and we learned a few things which we talk about.
You even got a selfie with Mark Goodwin, didn't you?
I did. Very happy with that. And
the guy about the police, he mentioned about selected DNA. That's an interesting new idea, isn't it?
Yeah, you probably took more of that in than me.
I did. I took lots of notes, so maybe we should do a blog post about it. It was good.
Yeah, there'll be some something coming up on that. We could do a joint blog, eh?
We can.
Okay.
And what's the stylised gear stuff? What's that about?
Oh, another shout out to Aaron, because all the new stylies gear we have been working on over winter for the education apiary is finally all on its way, and the girls are in an absolute buzz about it. Thanks, Aaron. You made it possible, and we will be doing a blog on this as we get that all set up. What am I going on about? Well, stylish new A-frame roof, shebang, and hive stand for Langstrath set to 30 centimetres high, and we'll be releasing a video on it later on. And
cool.
Just a thought, Gary.
Yes, Margaret.
Maybe our listeners want to help us with some of our project work.
Oh, hopefully.
Maybe they can make a donation through our website.
That can be achieved.
Oh, maybe we can add a link to the show notes so they can make a donation. It could be a one-off donation.
That's right. Or they could buy lots of products.
That's right. And these products that we're going to be showing on the video will be coming to our shop very soon, guys, and you will love them.
Absolutely. And how are the girls at the education apiary doing?
They are doing so well. They got through sac brood and deformed wing virus, and I only used oxalic acid vaporization. And the population is strong and healthy, and they are collecting heaps of pollen. They've got nectar, and whenever I work that hive, they are just so busy. I'm just so excited. And when I did an inspection about 3 weeks, 3 weeks ago?
I think it's sooner than that, isn't it?
No, it would have been about 3 weeks ago, and I saw 3 drones. So I had a quick look at the brood, and I wouldn't have looked at it if it wasn't as full of bees as it was, and I saw there was lots of new cells. So the whole colony will get a good look at, because the temperatures are starting to go up now. The cat brood that's going to be hatching probably about now will be getting checked shortly to make sure the emerging bees are in good shape and the varroa levels are well contained and hopefully next to nothing.
Yeah, so you're gonna split that one?
My goal is to split them, but also I've been thinking about perhaps raising some queens with it and seeing if I can get some smaller nucleus colonies and leaving them there to breed, and see if we can produce a few more quality colonies from this one hive, which is doing really well.
And are you going to use that NZed system? Is it NZed?
NZed?
Oh, we're not sure yet.
I can't remember what it was called, but it's
the plastic one.
Yeah, it's like got a square with removable caps, and you put the queen in it, and she lays only in those things, and then you put them onto.
That's the NZed system.
Okay.
I think that's how you pronounce it. But we might have some help coming up about that, so that'll be good, eh?
Yeah, it was interesting the other day. We had a person ring us from one of the schools nearby, who had a gentleman there who wanted to come and see us, but he couldn't find where we were, so the school rang us quite kindly.
I think he went to our post box.
So there was a bit of confusion, but anyway. Yeah.
We don't live in our post box.
Not generally.
No, it's too small.
So anyway, he ended up coming up, and he's from Australia, and we won't hold that against him.
No, we won't. And he's been keeping bees for 40 years, so
a lot of knowledge there, and he's offered to help me work through doing some queen rearing. So I'm going to take him up on that. As soon as we get to see what we end up with the split, I'm going to do a split first, so we keep the original queen and then get them up and running, and then look at raising some queens so that the bees can build up the resources.
Sounds good. And what's the workshops full of what?
Sawdust, nails, and sweat. And
a bit of my blood, probably.
Yeah, there's some blood in there from hitting the wrong nail.
Hitting the hand instead of the nail.
So, yeah, we've been pretty busy in there, and, you guys are definitely starting to look at getting more gear. And if there's any issues, guys, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. But, so my next moves are definitely doing an assessment inspection of my bees in preparation for the spring build-up. And when I do an assessment, it's just checking everything. Then I write everything down that's going on in the hive. Then I go back 2 weeks later and I see what has progressed. And the things that we're looking at this time of the year is the production of drone cells. So this is in terms of, okay, the heat is warm enough, the temperatures are changing enough, so there's drones. So that means that mating, if you start seeing drone cells, you're looking another 3 weeks, and then you've got to start thinking that, breeding is going to be starting. And the other thing is the increased laying of eggs, and you want worker brood in the colonies and lots of it. So those are the things you'll be looking at and waiting for the girls to really build up their population. And then after that, you'll be looking at how you manage the swarm effect.
Yes, absolutely. Keep a lookout for those swarms. blog recap where we recap the last month's blogs. Number 1.
Yeah, so we moved on from what you're doing with your bees and telling everyone the hibernation is over.
Hibernation is over. This was our last podcast. It was very popular. So thanks everyone for downloading it and listening.
Yeah, and it really was about hibernation, eh?
Indeed it was.
Yeah, so we're glad you guys got into that one. You know, here we are on another one, two shows later. And of course you saw, what was that one? The greatest beekeeper in Sheffield.
Chris Brown. That was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was great. And he's just so good to talk to. And, you know, it's neat to hear what other people are doing.
And we got a message from Chris too. We'll play that after this section.
Okay, awesome.
And the third most popular was, what are the 3 basics to start beekeeping? This is a series by Margaret. And this was part 3, 6 essential pieces of info about beekeeping.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this series of 3. I set it up so give some context. So if you want to start beekeeping, those are the 3 basics, and then those 3 basics list essential items within those basics. And the last one was very popular. The second one was really popular as well because it just talked about the basic gear. And, you know, guys, if you need stuff to start beekeeping, that'll be the one to do it. So easy to find on our website. You just go and look under the blogs and you can see all of the blogs listed on there.
Absolutely. Let's listen to this message from Chris.
Awesome.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Margaret. It's Chris from Brickmana. I see that the podcast is going to go out to the world tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Hope you're both really well and sort of gearing up for another season, and you've managed to get over the chilling effects of the great Kiwi winter. And you've dug yourself out of your house through the snow and and you're just, you're just coping. Okay. That's my main concern.
We're coping.
I'm looking forward to the podcast going live, tomorrow. And I just hope that you're, ready for the hate mail that comes with it. Just send it all my way. Anyway, lots of love and no doubt. It's a big chat at some point. And thanks very much for interviewing me for it. It was delighted to be a part of it, and it's just been a great experience all round. So thank you very much.
Cool. Thanks, Chris.
That's awesome.
Cheers. And love to you guys too, and hope all's going well with the new one. And you guys will be starting your hibernation, I guess.
Yes. I know your winters will not be as severe as ours, but we'll be thinking of you anyway.
We struggled.
We struggled.
We struggled through the rain, the wind, the sleet,
the constant rain, the
thunder, the lightning.
Trying to dry firewood.
Anyway,
yes. We'll let's move on to beekeeping news. Beekeeping news. News you can't lose.
Okay, news and views from all over from yous.
All over the muse.
From yous?
The first one. Bees are starting to evolve to survive. Destructive varroa mite. Researchers says. This is an article about bees are starting to evolve resistance to varroa mites. It also touches on the biosecurity risks of mites getting into Australia. And the quote from the article says...
Bees in the United States and Europe are starting to evolve through natural selection to survive a mite that has been decimating their populations. Professor Stephen Martin, Chair of Animal Ecology at Salford University in the United Kingdom, said in some instances bees were living with varroa mites and an associated virus without any treatment.
That's awesome. And also, it says here, beekeeping has not collapsed in Europe or America, but it requires a huge amount of management, more intervention, and increased use of pesticides into colonies to control the mite. Well, that's debatable, but anyway.
That is interesting because we have it on good authority that pesticides and miticides are causing more resistance to the varroa mite.
Yes, they're sort of breeding super mites.
That's it, and the viruses are stronger as well.
Yes,
So,
we'll talk about that more, eh? We
Yeah.
had some feedback from Dr. Mark Goodwin.
Yeah, and this is quite an interesting article. I think the reality is that any surviving bees are going to slowly deal with the issue, but it's, you think of how long humans have been interfering in bees. It's like a dot on this 25 million year, depending on what you believe in, timeline. So I kind of have my views about it, but it's interesting to see what they're looking at.
Speaking of views, let's have some feedback from Yappy. We know Yappy. How's the hootin' going?
Oh, he's a bit of a hoot old yuppie.
And he says...
and he's a bit of a bee hooligan.
He's definitely a bee hooligan. He does he's on the Bee Hooligan podcast with Tony and various other casts.
That's it. Shall we?
JP and, of course, Big Bear. Anyway, Yappy says, I would love to see the research on this. I haven't seen anything suggesting this is true, especially in my apiary. Yes, good point.
That is interesting. Yep. And Sam Gray says, I know they are crossbreeding to get more Varroa-tolerant queens, which will obviously pass on to the colony. That's not evolving, though. I agree with that. It's not evolving.
I think they've had some success in America with that, but I don't know.
They're just adding genes from other insects that are more vicious and nasty. So, do we really want to do that? The bees will survive.
But didn't Tom Seeley do some studies on this, and he's discovered they are becoming more resistant to mites? But haven't read that yet. I'm still reading Honeybee Democracy.
See, this is where I get my tangent going, because the bees don't become resistant.
No, the mites do.
The mites are becoming... mites are becoming resistant to the chemicals that are spread. The the bee, are becoming more able to deal with it. So they would need to evolve rather than becoming resistant, because they can't become resistant to it. They can manage it better.
Maybe they become resistant to the viruses that the Varroa spread.
They're not becoming resistant to the viruses. The viruses appear to be getting stronger. Anyway, I agree with what Sam's saying, that it's not evolving. We're interfering with the evolving bee by trying to change genetics. We have to let the bees live. Killing bees every season or letting them die is ridiculous. We need to breed from wintering queens and keep our old queens and use those genetics. That's what we need to do.
Amen, sister. Anyway, Matthew Brown, what does he say?
He says, interesting that the so-called killer bees in South America and now Mexico are resistant to Varroa. Don't fancy working with those, though.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my blimmin' point.
Exactly.
And Stephen Maunsels makes a very decisive and short comment, and that's,
I think it's an abbreviation for something, but we don't know what it is.
Harumph.
Yeah, that's like from Blazing Saddles. Remember that?
Okay. Matt Ward says, I hope so. Well,
I hope so too.
We hope, but I think sometimes we're interfering so much we need to stop. Anyway, interestingly, here in New Zealand, scientists explained that Apistan and Baverol have caused resistance in the Varroa destructomite. Plus, the viruses being transmitted by the Varroa destructomite are stronger, and therefore they have found that it takes fewer Varroa to cause a colony to fail. So this is making things very tough for Kiwi beekeepers. So being vigilant is absolutely essential. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm treating regardless now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm not using Apistan or Baverol, because the people who use those chemicals are adding to the Varroa becoming stronger. So please, guys, take a bit more time with your bees and try to use something that is less likely to cause any of these issues. And some of these original ways of managing bees are outdated now. You know, treating twice a year It's ridiculous.
Doesn't work.
It's not working. You're just adding to your problem. So start thinking a bit more carefully about those things. And my thoughts are that we've used oxalic acid vaporization, and the results speak for themselves with surviving hives. But if I don't keep an eye on them, or I do my regular treatments, and the varroa mite is stronger than it's ever been, and it's spreading stronger viruses, the reality is that I have to monitor more. And if my colony fails, that's my own fault, because I was told, and I know, I must monitor, I must keep on top of it.
Yes, absolutely. I agree totally. You must monitor, check the mites, and also check your treatments are working before you give up on, stop using them. Sort of thing.
That's the reality. If you do it too late and the colony is weak, which I've had a few comments about, then the colony will fail regardless of whatever treatment you put in there. So don't blame the treatment, guys. Be more vigilant. Think in terms of New Zealand. We have foraging year round. So year round we have Varroa destructor mite, and the threat exists all the time.
Absolutely. And speaking of threats, here's another incident about bee poo.
Oh, before we do that, I just want to take a moment.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Yes, and I need to center myself again because I have been getting quite upset about this Varroa issue, I must say.
You're angry at the varroa mites. They can't hear you, Margaret.
Oh, boy, those, I think that the education apiary really shows me how my vigilance has meant that they have survived and they're going to do well. And honestly, guys, I really stand by it.
Yeah, I think the days of being an inactive beekeeper are gone.
Yeah, and monitoring is crucial, but treating is essential, and the treatment, you can't just plonk it in there and think everything's going to be all right, because even with Apistan and Baverol, the colonies will get more Varroa after that 6-week time. So just understand that, guys.
Absolutely. And the next article is, he thought his beehive was helping the environment. Then someone complained. Another bee poo incident in Murray's Bay in Auckland. A complaint has been made to the Auckland Council. These hives were managed from an unknown beekeeper from Bees and Things. And the council are working with the beekeepers to manage the issue under the sensible bee bylaws we have in Auckland. And the quote says,
Michael Harris just wants to help the environment, but complains of a bee poo epidemic which has put him in a sticky situation.
A sticky brown situation.
The Auckland man has a beehive on his Murray's Bay property and has had for about 2.5 years. He's doing well if he's had it for about 2.5 years.
Oh, well, it might be several generations of
This
it.
is an interesting article for you to read, guys. And, some of the ways that we deal with this is by handing over a pot of honey.
Oh, to the neighbours, you mean?
Indeed.
Yep. I think if you watch the bee flight, bees generally defecate as they're leaving the hive, don't they? They don't do it like 3 miles away.
They won't do it right by the hive. Generally, they do it a bit away from the hive, from what I understand, like 50 metres away or something. So that might be just close enough to get your neighbours washing.
So what can you do to stop this happening then?
Well, the Auckland Council bylaws talk about perhaps changing the flight path. Education is one of the things that they should be doing, really, is to get the ratepayers and residents to understand that it's a natural phenomenon and that it is something that does happen. It's not all the time either. It's only certain times of the year where it's more prevalent. So I think changing the flight path was one of the things that the bylaws talks about. Providing water near your hives was the other one, and dealing with the swarm risk. So our thoughts are that you artificially split so that you keep your old queen, and so she doesn't create an issue or whatever. It's really personal how you deal with that, but those are the things that they ask, and they're usually their first approach is to talk to the neighbours and get the people together and discuss the issues. And yeah, I think that most of these things can be achieved.
Absolutely, and we had some good feedback from Shane Reed. What does he say?
He says, as a hobby beekeeper, I believe that it's absolutely rubbish. Sad, some people are so dumb, plain dumb.
Yes, I agree, Shane. And Gina Hartley says?
She says, unbelievable. The same thing happens with fern spores. They go all over parked cars too. Honestly, live with a bit of pee-poo or cover your car if that's precious. I reckon if you've got a car that you think so precious, you park it in the bloomin' garage.
You can't, but the garage is full of beehives.
Yeah, but then that person wouldn't mind all the pee-poo, would they?
No, they wouldn't. And the other thing is, have you noticed that when pine trees are getting rid of their pollen, that yellow stuff, it gets everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's all over my car at the moment. There's a lot of pollen.
And fungus. What is that stuff on your car?
It's lichen.
Oh, lichen. Well, that's a type of fungus, isn't it?
It is, but I think it's more that it's pollen residue.
Yeah.
It's all yellow, so that came off pretty quick. But, yeah, I think if you have got a vehicle that's really, you love, you wouldn't leave it outside all the time. But, we try to work with people who don't know much about bees and just educate them a little bit. So have a bit of thought for them, guys, and, yeah, we just keep teaching. That's what we do.
Absolutely. And Robert McInnes says,
that's rubbish. I'm going to get 500 wild cats instead.
Then you'll become the crazy cat person. Good on you, Robert. And Barry Oliver from Australia says,
bee poo a problem? Sounds like bullshit to me.
Absolutely.
We hear you guys. We are with you. So, yeah, thanks for that feedback, Barry, Robert, Gina, and Shane. Always appreciated and always giving us a bit of food for thought.
Absolutely. And this next story is about a common herb that will keep bee pollinators buzzing in your garden. A study in England by the University of Sussex included 32 plants to see what was the most attractive bees and pollinators. And this was Origamon vulgara, known as
oregano. Now, this is interesting. This goes into so much detail. It's got an awesome video with it as well. And I love this article, and there are wonderful tips there. And we've said it ourselves on the podcast, eh?
Yeah.
When you're in the garden centre, go and have a look at the plants that are being visited. I agree with that tip about going to the garden centre on a sunny day and buy what is covered in bees.
Absolutely, and then go to hide all the pesticide bottles.
Yes, we've worked on that one, haven't we?
Anyway,
so what does the article say, Dale?
The quote says it's a common feature of Italian cooking and a native around Europe and in the UK. More importantly, though, it is one of the best of all plants for attracting bees, butterflies and other pollinators to your garden.
Yeah, they go on to say in that article that they got a lot of butterflies and bumblebees and other hoverflies and everything. So this is a really interesting article, guys. Have a look at it. It is so good. Beautiful pictures. Oh,
it's awesome. That's from pbs.org. And we had some feedback as well from Robert McMinnis. What does he say?
Robert says, what a great article. And I agree, Robert. It is. It's wonderful.
And fisherman Alan Sentence
says, excellent information. Cheers. And a little happy face. We love a happy face. So, yeah, thanks, Robert. Thanks, Fisherman Alan. And good to get your feedback. And we agree with you completely.
How did Alan's parents know he was going to be a fisherman, but?
Oh, it's probably just the way things are. Sometimes you just have to accept these things, Gary.
It's true. And
how did they know you were going to be a Gary?
Oh, because I just am. The next story, What is a Gary? What do they do?
Exactly. That's my question. I've wondered that for a long time.
Oh, we do lots of things. We're very busy people. The next story is there's researching in America at, what is it?
Studying
New Mexico?
the benefits for oregano for bees. So first article was talking about all the different plants, and oregano was very popular. This one is actually researching the benefits, the health benefits for the bee itself. And these studies are ongoing, and it is in
New Mexico State University.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
And they're even saying that oregano's got thyme properties in it.
Thymol, yeah.
That was an interesting video as well. But this is a study they're doing at the moment. So that'll be coming out soon, I guess, or when they finish it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see their results. They've sent away some bees to be tested, which means killing them effectively.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, it's sad but true. Anyway, yeah, that's an interesting article. It's not too long and basically talking about what their researchers are studying. And I think the idea is to find out the health benefits for the bee itself.
Yeah, but these two articles have shown to me we need to plant more oregano.
Oh, and it looks so beautiful, eh? The pictures
that
just
video,
nice.
It's got some nice looking flowers.
Yeah. So what feedback did we get, Gary?
We got some feedback from Malcolm Megabin.
Okay, what does he
He's
say?
interesting. Going to share this. Thank you, Malcolm. That's awesome. Yeah, share the article.
Yep.
And what does Matthew Jordan say?
Jordan says, nice. A man of few words and straight to the point. And yeah, we agree. This is an interesting article and worth having a look at. And thanks, Malcolm and Matthew, for sharing your feedback with us. We love you to share.
Absolutely. And the next story, honey. Are you giving it away?
Are you getting enough?
Yes, exactly. There's a great post by the great Ron Mishka that ponders the question. And we'll be talking about Ron later. Are beekeepers not charging enough for their honey? He does a price comparison at the local supermarket, an exercise we all could do in our local area, and he compared the honey that was being sold commercially to what hobbyists and other smaller beekeepers were doing.
Yes, it's interesting, and I think he's right. You know, are we getting enough for our honey?
No, I think the amount of effort it takes to make a jar of honey, they should be worth about $100,000 each.
That's right, liquid gold.
And the quote in the article says,
a few days ago, I was shopping at our local co-op grocery store. As usual, I checked the price of honey, as we all do. I like to use their prices as a minimum guide for honey produced by hobby beekeepers. So this is talking about whether you are selling your honey for enough money or are you giving it away. So great article, guys. And what sort of feedback did we get, Gary?
Well, I just got to say one thing about this article. There's a photo on the article from a producer of honey in Australia, and they're calling it Manuka honey. That is blatantly wrong.
Okay.
They don't produce Manuka honey in Australia. Rant over.
Well, I think the rant is rated number 10 by me.
And we talk further about this.
We do. So
maybe on the bonus show. But anyway,
are you ready to check the feedback, Gary?
Feedback. Yep. Christy Ann says
the honey prices in NZed are actually very nice. In Germany, you can buy imported honey for like $3 per 500 grams.
That's €3, I think.
Honey from a local beekeeper will cost you about $8 per 500 grams.
Well, Chris Dye, he's a German guy. You got to support your local beekeepers. So I guess they are charging more money because it's a better product.
I think that it's interesting to get that kind of feedback because, you know, in New Zealand, we are perhaps giving some away. I think that the best thing you can do, people, is buy from your local guys, and that supports them in doing their work and getting that product to you. And it's good and healthy for you to get local honey because it helps with dealing with local environment, doesn't it, in terms of...
But does it really, Margaret?
I do believe it does.
Would you think it's just, you know, what do you call it?
I believe that it does because you're living in this environment and it helps you build up resistance to things that are not healthy to you. So it makes perfect sense that honey being a food is medicine.
Because we do hear people that have bought local honey and they reckon it's amazing. So I don't know. I mean, do you think it's just they think it's going to work so it does, or do they think it's...
Well, I must be a nutcase because my honey is awesome. And you know what? I just want to thank Evie, Lisa, and Jim and Joe, and thank them for their honey, because this year, because we had no honey ourselves, I have been eating their honey with lemon and some hot water and a bit of cinnamon, and I have not had a cold. And I thank you very much, guys, because that's awesome. And yeah, very grateful to have that.
Absolutely. But the people in New Brunswick are not grateful this month. They've discovered small hive beetles.
Just want to say thanks, Christy, for your feedback. Awesome.
Thanks, Christy.
Okay, so what was that, Gary? Sorry.
Destructive small hive beetles have been found for the first time in New Brunswick beehives in Canada.
All you need is love. Da 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 da. But not for the small hive beetle.
Different kind of beetles, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So the small hive beetles have reached New Brunswick, probably from their neighbourhood. They reckon they were from hives imported from Ontario.
From neighbourly gives, a quarantine has been set up to slow down their spread.
That should be neighbourly hives. We'll change that. A quarantine has been set up to slow their spread. And the article says...
The small hive beetle, whose larvae can destroy beehives, has been confirmed for the first time in New Brunswick bees hives. Where is New Brunswick, Gary?
It's in Canada.
In Canada. Blame the Department of Agriculture said on Friday.
It's only one song per article. Sorry. And because don't small hive beetles require a warm environment? So surely New Brunswick isn't a great environment for them.
Okay, maybe the larvae eat stuff and get into the wood and stuff like the wax moth does.
I think they put slime everywhere. Let me just check here.
Okay, caller, let's just wait and see what's going on here.
Yeah, New Brunswick is north of Maine, but it's part of Canada, isn't it?
Okay, and yeah, the slime is the thing that is quite disgusting from what I hear.
Yes, it looks like snot in your hives. It's I've never actually seen it in real life because we luckily don't have hive beetles here.
Thank goodness for that. But the reality is that they've had to do a quarantine area, and they talk more about all that in the article. So have a read of that, Guy, and be grateful that we don't have this issue to deal with, and sad to see it spreading.
Absolutely. If you're in New Brunswick, drop us a line and tell us how you're getting on if you've seen these hive beetles yet.
Yeah.
And we got some feedback from Kathy Brockor.
Okay. What does Kathy have to say for herself there, Dale?
They sure grow them big there. I think she's referring to the picture.
They are pretty big though, aren't they?
No, they're small. That's the clue's in the name. Small hive beetle.
Oh dear. Okay.
Well, they're about, I'd say about 5 times bigger than a mite.
So they're about 10 millimetres.
Yeah, they're about that small.
Cool.
And Hilton and Melvin Ward says, so why would a person import a beehive that could have the small hive beetle in it? It seems humans are way too stupid. Well, that's true.
Oh, I love it.
Well, I think I'm not sure if they do import bees from America to... I don't think they do from America to Canada.
Well, they're saying that this is a neighbourly thing that's happened.
Yeah, this came from Ontario, which is part of Canada too.
So there you go. So, neighbours can be a bit of a nuisance sometimes, but you learn to deal with it, don't you?
You do, but the problem with small hive beetles, they can actually fly between different hives. So even though there's a line on the map between Canada and America, I'm sure they can still fly over that line on the map.
Cheeky.
Well, it's true, isn't it? There's no quarantine for them.
Indeed. They understand that, I think. And I think the small hive beetle wouldn't understand that line at all.
No, true. And Lyle Cairns, good to hear from you, Lyle.
He says there is no way it will survive the winter.
That's what I thought, because it needs like a warm environment, so they probably all die.
So, yeah, cheers, Kathy, Hilton and Melva, and Lyle for your comments, and we love to get your feedback, and we sure do feel the same that hopefully they'll die in winter.
Okay, questions from you. Let's open the mailbox. Oh, we've got a voicemail. Let's play that.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Margaret. I love the podcast. Recently, I found American foul brood in my hives and had to get them gamma radiated. My question is, I was wondering if it's okay to feed gamma radiated honey back to the bees. See ya.
Wow, and that was from Clinton, and I think he's from Australia. And we talked to Victor Croker about this, didn't we, a while back because he gets his hives gamma radiated if they have American foul brood or European foul brood.
Okay, it just seems, when I hear the word radiated, it just makes me think of radiation poisoning and genetic mutations and breeding issues and birthing defects. And
the Spider-Man came from a radiation thing, didn't he?
That wasn't the first thing that came to my mind.
Anyway, apparently gamma rays are quite good because they penetrate all parts of the beekeeping equipment. It uses a minimum dose of 15 kilograys, and gamma radiation is a chemical-free process, meaning there are no residues.
Gamma irradiation.
Yeah, gamma irradiation, meaning there's no residues in the bee equipment, and irradiated food does not become radioactive.
But then I did some research.
And I've got some good articles there from a couple of good sources. And what did you discover?
My research revealed that if you actually gamma radiate people, you can actually cause cancer-causing cell damage.
Oh, okay. So, Clinton, if you get your hives gamma irradiated, don't stand next to them.
That's right. So keep a distance. And interestingly, guys, food from America and Australia are gamma irradiated.
When it comes into New Zealand, eh?
That's right.
Yes, that's true.
So I avoid it. Why take the risk, guys? Eat New Zealand kerry oranges. Hello.
Yeah.
Hawke's Bay food.
Yeah, so I think the honey should be okay, Clinton. I think it should be all right. I mean, they do it on food, but I'm not sure about the long-term studies on it. But
yeah. We couldn't actually find specific information to say whether it affects the bees. The reality is that a bee body is different from a human body, so we couldn't find any absolute research that states what happens to a bee.
Well, there's a statement on Stereotech's website, but they're the people that provide irradiation, so you take that with a grain of salt. And they say that it's been used for many years and with no effects. But you might want to get an independent study done or independent information.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but if you're in the market of doing the gamma irradiation, then obviously they have to present some research with it. So have a look at that. There's a link to that article. And yeah, just see what you find through that, Clinton. So I reckon that was a really awesome question, and thanks for getting in touch with us.
Yes, thanks so much for leaving a message. That's awesome. So if you've got a message, you can either do it on SpeakPipe like Clinton did, or you can drop us an email at question@kiwimana.co.nz, and we will try and answer. So thanks, Clinton.
Good question.
And if you have an urgent question, please check out the Bees Knees Facebook group on Facebook.
Yeah, there was an interesting question on the Bees Knees Facebook group the other day about robbing screens. And one of the things that we humans like to do is we like to think that we need to paint everything. And the problem with that, if you're using a robbing screen and you paint it, the bees won't be able to propolize it, because there's just all the paint residue in there and they can't clean that off. So it's better to leave the robbing screens in natural wood. They won't rot. I've had ours for about 4 or 5 years now, and they're not rotting, okay? So you have to use good quality wood with that, untreated, and leave it natural wood, and the bees will propolize it, which will automatically put a bit of water resistance on it. So, yeah, sometimes robbing screens won't work if you paint them, so that means that the girls can't get the hive scent on it. So it has to be natural wood, guys.
Yeah, that's probably the same principle. Don't paint inside the hives either.
Absolutely. Never paint inside the hives. We always oil the exterior, and if we paint, we only paint the exterior. And when we do the baseboards, we don't paint by the entrance of the baseboards.
Absolutely. Let's move on to random review. Random review. This is where we read out a random review of our products. And as a small thank you, we give a $30 Kiwi Mata gift voucher to the person who wins. And if the person doesn't claim it, we get cake.
That's right, cake.
Cake is good.
Cake is good.
So you got to be in the draw to win, and you've got to get in touch within 2 weeks of this podcast release date. And that'll probably be the 20th of September.
Awesome. And it's a prize you can use, guys. So don't forget to listen. You have to listen to the podcast. And the show notes tell you have to listen to the podcast. So listen
to the podcast.
And you will have wonderful things coming through your ears, and enjoy and learn, and hopefully, make you inspired. That'd be awesome, hey? Inspiring.
Inspiring indeed. Let's get the computer to generate a random review.
The winning number is
3.
Number 3. Who's number 3?
We're just checking who number 3 is.
Number 3 is Angela Fisher, and she purchased the Practical Beekeeping in New Zealand book. And she says, very straightforward advice and information for a newbie like me to understand. Can reference the chapter relevant to what I need to do and keep my bees happy and healthy. Thank you. Well, thank you, Angela.
Thanks, Angela. And get in touch with us and, claim your prize. $30, man.
Absolutely. Okay, feedback from you guys as we read some feedback from you guys. And on the Facebooks, we got a message from Roger Day from Kentucky. He's joined the Bees Knees group. And he says, thanks for the ad. I love the podcast. You guys make me laugh when I learn new things.
While I learn new things. Well, that's excellent. Well, that's what we're aiming for. So that it's not hard, that it's fun.
Yes, and it's great to see you learning new things. That's fantastic. Thanks, Roger, for your comments. And from the Twitters, we got a message from Adopt a Bee. He welcomed us back. He said, best part of my day was finding another Kiwi Mata Buzz podcast on my phone. Welcome back, Gary and Margaret.
Yay, thank you.
I think he was referring to the Hibernation is Over podcast. So,
absolutely.
So thanks, guys. That's awesome. Thanks for that feedback.
Okay, and we've got some things about the bonus buzz.
The bonus show. Yes, on this month's bonus show, we're talking about queenless hives and Australian Honey Challenge.
Yeah, this is the bonus buzz where you get a little extra.
Absolutely, and this is Patreon supporters, so thanks, guys. Okay, the next show coming out in a couple of weeks will be Ron Mixer. Ron is a writer and beekeeper from Calgary in Canada. We talked a lot about Canada tonight, haven't we?
Yes.
And Ron has been involved in beekeeping for many years as a commercial beekeeper and educator. He is the author of the Bad Beekeeping book and blog, and this will be out on the 13th of September for the patrons and the 20th for everyone else. Let's have a listen to Ron's message.
Awesome.
And is it true that there's a heavy metal band named after you?
Oh, yeah. I guess it is true. I was shocked. It's a Norwegian band called Miksha. And I don't know that they named their band after me, but it might have been in retrospect that they thought it would be clever to pretend they named it after me. because on their original website they said that their band was named after Ron Miksha, who was, let's see, an espionage agent working for the American government in Vietnam. And none of that, of course, being true.
Or is it, Ron?
Or is it? I'm not telling.
Okay, so a bit of a man of mystery there.
You'd have
Ron.
to listen to the show to find out, is it true?
Yeah,
But
yes.
that is a great, I love that interview. It was awesome, wasn't it? Did you enjoy that one?
Yeah, it was great. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this one. And we're not going to give too much away.
No, you'll have to listen. Have a check it out when that comes out. And guys, if you could do one thing this month, can you share this podcast with some friends? Please do that for us. That'd be awesome. And you know what you can do now? If you go into a bee meeting or a bee club, or you've got a beekeeping friend, you secretly grab their phone and install the app for free, and they can listen to the show. What do you think? Covert installing?
I think it's the best thing since the Bee's Knees Club.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening, and we will be back in a couple of weeks with Ron, and we hope you enjoy the show, and we're hoping you are keeping your bees well and looking forward to spring or winter for you guys up in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, so the word is build, build, build. Get everything ready, guys. In NZ, we're kicking off the season. Oh, and speaking of kicking off, didn't the All Blacks do a fantastic job?
And the women's team. We're now
we're
world champions.
World champions in the women's and the men's rugby. Oh, awesome. Everything's going
awesome.
bananas.
Oh, everything's going bananas.
Yeah, so guys, thanks so much. And yeah, enjoy. And we look forward to some more rugby in the next little while as our rugby season's on its way. And keep well. See ya.
See ya.